The year is 1942, and the Pacific Ocean is a theater of relentless conflict. Just 6 months after the shocking attack on Pearl Harbor, the United States and Japan are locked in a battle for supremacy. The stakes couldn't be higher. For Japan, it's a chance to cement its dominance in the Pacific, forcing the U.S. into a defensive position that could take years to recover from. For the United States, it's a desperate fight to stop Japan's seemingly unstoppable advance. This is the story of the Battle of Midway, a clash of titanic forces where intelligence, innovation, and incredible bravery turned the tide of the Pacific War. It's a story of daring pilots, brilliant strategists, and the human spirit prevailing against overwhelming odds. To understand why Midway was such a pivotal moment, we need to rewind to the months following Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attack on December 7, 1941, devastated the U.S. Pacific Fleet. In one morning, America lost 8 battleships, hundreds of aircraft, and over 2,400 lives. Japan's Imperial Navy seized the initiative, sweeping through the Pacific and capturing key territories including Guam, Wake Island, and the Philippines. Morale in the United States was low, and Japan seemed unstoppable. But beneath the surface, the United States was quietly preparing to strike back. One of the most crucial developments was the work of American cryptanalysts, a group of brilliant minds working in secrecy at Station HYPO in Pearl Harbor. Led by Commander Joseph Rochefort, these codebreakers made a groundbreaking discovery in early 1942. They had cracked Japan's naval code, known as JN-25. This gave the United States access to Japanese military communications, a priceless advantage. By May, intercepted messages revealed Japan's plan to target AF. But what was AF? Rochefort and his team devised a clever ruse. They instructed the American base at Midway to send an unencrypted message about a water shortage. Shortly after, Japanese communications confirmed that AF was experiencing water problems, proving beyond doubt that Midway was the target. With this information, Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, the commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, devised a bold strategy. Knowing Japan's intentions allowed him to turn their trap into a counter-trap. The U.S. Navy would position its remaining aircraft carriers, USS Enterprise, USS Hornet, and the repaired USS Yorktown, north of Midway, lying in wait for the Japanese fleet. But let's not forget the immense challenges the Americans faced. The Japanese Imperial Navy was at the peak of its power. Under the command of Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, Japan's fleet included 4 massive aircraft carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, along with numerous battleships, cruisers, and destroyers. By contrast, the U.S. Navy's resources were stretched thin, and the Yorktown had barely been patched up after its near destruction at the Battle of the Coral Sea. Nevertheless, the Americans pressed forward, knowing that failure was not an option. June 4, 1942. The day dawned clear over the Pacific. Japanese reconnaissance planes scouted the area, reporting no sign of American carriers. Confident, the Japanese launched their first wave of attacks on Midway Atoll, unleashing a torrent of bombs and machine gun fire. While the atoll's defenders suffered heavy losses, they managed to keep the airfield operational, a critical detail that would haunt the Japanese as the day progressed. Unbeknownst to the Japanese, American carriers were already launching their own strike groups. Pilots and crew knew the odds were against them. Many of these men were young, inexperienced, and flying outdated aircraft like the TBD Devastator torpedo bombers. Despite this, their determination was unwavering. The first American squadrons to reach the Japanese fleet faced devastating anti-aircraft fire and relentless attacks from Japanese Zero fighters. The torpedo bombers, flying low and slow, suffered catastrophic losses. Of the 41 torpedo planes that attacked, only 6 returned. Yet their sacrifice was not in vain. By forcing the Japanese to focus on low-altitude threats, they inadvertently created an opening for the American dive bombers arriving moments later. Please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new daily videos. And then it happened. At approximately 10:20 a.m., dive bombers from USS Enterprise and USS Yorktown appeared over the Japanese fleet. Their timing was perfect. Japanese carriers, busy refueling and rearming planes for a second attack on Midway, were caught completely off guard. Within minutes, 3 of Japan's carriers, Akagi, Kaga, and Soryu, were engulfed in flames. their decks littered with exploding munitions. One eyewitness, Ensign George Gay, was among the few survivors of the doomed torpedo squadrons. Floating in the water after his plane was shot down, Gay watched in awe as the American dive bombers struck. He later described seeing the entire Japanese fleet in absolute chaos, with planes falling out of the sky and carriers burning like torches. But the battle wasn't over yet. The fourth Japanese carrier, Hiryu, managed to launch a counterattack. Its planes struck the USS Yorktown, hitting her with multiple bombs and torpedoes. Miraculously, the Yorktown's crew managed to keep her afloat, but a second wave of Japanese attacks eventually sealed her fate. Despite their loss, the Americans pressed on. By the following day, Hiryu too was destroyed, leaving Yamamoto with no choice but to order a retreat. The Battle of Midway was a staggering victory for the United States. In just a few days, Japan lost 4 carriers, a heavy cruiser, and nearly 250 aircraft, along with many of its best pilots. By contrast, the U.S. lost 1 carrier, Yorktown, 1 destroyer, and around 150 aircraft. For Japan, the defeat was not just a tactical setback, but a strategic disaster. The loss of so many carriers and pilots crippled their ability to conduct offensive operations, and they were forced onto the defensive for the remainder of the war. Midway was more than just a battle. It was a turning point in history. It demonstrated the importance of intelligence and innovation, as well as the courage of individuals who risked everything. The cryptanalysts at Station Hypo, the daring pilots who flew into the face of death, and the sailors who fought to save their ships, all played indispensable roles in this remarkable victory. This battle also marked a new era in naval warfare. The aircraft carrier, not the battleship, emerged as the dominant force on the seas. Midway showed that control of the skies was now the key to victory, a lesson that would shape the rest of World War II and beyond. In the years following the war, historians and veterans alike reflected on the significance of Midway. Admiral Nimitz famously described it as a victory of intelligence, courage, and cooperation. The bravery of those who fought at Midway serves as a timeless reminder of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. Today, Midway is remembered not just as a battle, but as a testament to what can be achieved through teamwork, ingenuity, and determination. It's a story that continues to inspire, reminding us that even in our darkest moments, we can find a way to prevail. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most iconic battles, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories. And as always, stay curious.